Yeah, so I'm just talking to you right now. There may be other people in the room, but you and I are having a conversation. So I almost feel like one of the founding fathers with the New Testament and the Declaration of Independence. Andy Petronic, you are now in Blab. Welcome to your first Blab.
Okay, cool.
So if you have some little feels right there, right? You can see them up here on my back window. Those are like shouts out. Those are like, how's it going? Great job. I feel you. I like what you're saying. And you don't have to go crazy and hit that button a couple hundred times because it doesn't matter. It only stays in this conversation. It doesn't carry over like Meerkat or one of the other social media platforms. So let me formally introduce my good friend, longtime coach, longtime innovator. He is a current co-founder of the Whole Life Challenge, which is a global phenomenon happening all over the world right now. And I'm extremely excited to be a part of it. Andy, we've done this for a few years. Tell us, for the viewers who don't know who you are, just a little brief background, who you are, what you do, and how on earth you developed the Whole Life Challenge.
Well, boy, that's a lot. How much time do you got? Let's see. I've been in the health and fitness industry specifically for about 25 years. I started unknowingly as a Marine, unknowing that I was actually getting into the health and fitness industry as a Marine because I was responsible for the health and well-being of the Marines in my platoon. And but then I started doing it for a living, shortly after I got out, about 4 years after I got out. And I've always been about helping. My intention has always been to help people achieve what they need to achieve and then move on in their life. So as a trainer, my goal was never to hang on to clients as long as possible. It was always to give them what they need, teach them what they need to know, and then empower them to make these positive changes in their life and then move on. And the challenge evolved. I opened a gym in 2004. It's called CrossFit LA. It was called Petronic Fitness back when I first opened it. It was the 9th CrossFit affiliate. Now there's 15,000 around the world.
9 million.
9 million and growing.
That's the latest number that they put out.
9 million and growing. We don't know how many have been lost. So it could be 8,999,999 lost. So we're the only affiliate. The challenge grew, or it basically came about because, I was trying to solve the question, how do I give my clients a tool so that they can realize the impact of their everyday decisions on their regular life? How do I do that? Like, I see them 3 hours a week or 4 hours a week or 5 hours a week, and I have this much impact over what's going on in their life. They make 2 steps forward when they're in the workout, and then they go back home and slouch at their desk and eat the crap food and don't stretch and don't drink water, and they take 4 steps back every day. So how do I do this? And I sat down with my head coach at the time, Michael Stanwyck, and we developed a informational system. We thought that the answer was providing more information. So we created something called Food University. It was our biggest failure. We had 12 people sign up. 3 were still doing it when it was over. It was expensive. And we took that and we said, okay, well, how do we make this into something that's fun and meaningful and a lot of people will do? And our answer was turn it into a game. Turn it into something that's kind of fun, that's got a little bit of competition, that gives people something actually to do in their life every day. And we fortunately had a couple of clients that were software developers, and they talked us out of doing it in Google Docs, which thank God. That was 4 years ago. It grew from 150 people at the first challenge to then we doubled in size. We invited friends and family, and then suddenly we were on the map around the world with 5,000 participants, and we had 20,000 in the last challenge.
Where are you at right now for this challenge? We're 7 days out?
It's very interesting enrollment. This is something that I'm learning over time doing this. People function very well with deadlines. So I wish that the number I think we're at about 8,000 today. But the number is never indicative of what we'll end up at. I wish there was some way of predicting. every time we have a deadline, we see this ski slope ramp up. And we had one challenge where, I don't know, 3,000 people signed up in the last 24 hours in the,
Wow.
Friday morning until Saturday at midnight. I mean, what, if you knew you were going to do this, why are you waiting until Friday? But shit, I'm the same way. If I have a blog post to go up, I don't write it a week in advance. I do it the night before or the morning of.
I can't do the morning of, but the night before. Last night was one of those nights. Yeah, 2, 3 a.m. getting it done, knocking it out.
So I'm just like that, like everybody else, and I guess in that way, shape, or form, it shouldn't be a surprise to me, although it always is. So so we're at 8,000. We've actually had more registrations this year during the early registration phase than we ever have. And so we hope that turns into more people in the challenge than we ever have. We really have no way of gauging or knowing. So we'll see.
So a couple of things different this year, this challenge. I've got our flyer up right now, and I've really started to evolve as a coach into the lifestyle piece more than fitness and nutrition. And it's probably been like that for the last 2 or 3 years, specifically for my own training, as I realized that I'm getting closer to 40 than 21. So I've never been leaner in my life than when I've actually been a part of the Whole Life Challenge. My wife is the same way. I have a client who has been a party animal for 20 years. He's now 40. He still parties. And the only time he hasn't stopped partying since he turned 17 was during the last challenge, during that 60-day. So this guy is so pumped up to be a part of it. I know we have about 30 or 35 people on Team SICFIT from around the globe, but talk to us about the new 7 daily habits and how it's not just about fitness and nutrition.
Yeah, it's interesting. The easy thing, and the thing everybody thinks about when they think of a challenge, something that's associated with fitness, is exercise and food. I'd say actually it's food and exercise. Food is something that's in front of all of our faces at least 3 times a day. It's something we all, we have emotional ties to from the time we were, infants. We have social. Food is very social. Food is very, it's money driven. It's very expensive, depending on where you shop. So there's food is something that we all are dealing with all the time. So food tends to be at the forefront of consciousness and awareness when it comes to affecting your life in and around a fitness challenge. What we did with the 7 daily habits, what we try to do is draw attention to all the things that have an impact, not just food. So food and exercise are right there. But then in terms of the 7 daily habits, we've got stretching and mobility. A body that is stiff and not moving. Personally, I went to a stand-up desk about a year and a half ago. And
give us a little tour. Give us a shot of that. Are you on that right now? Yeah.
I don't know if I can. Let's see if I can jump. I mean, I'm just standing here. This is because I can't quite reach. But this is my desk. It's desktop height. It doesn't even go down. I have an actual stool that I use. This is my work stool, and so if I need to sit down or feel like sitting down, I can pop a squat. But it's the same height as me standing, basically. So that in and of itself is improving my mobility because it's keeping my hips open and lengthening my psoas and my hip flexors, which if you know anything about health and fitness, is one of the most notoriously tight, stiff elements in your body and affects lower back pain and affects all kinds of stuff. So I'm
on my way there, Andy. I haven't quite sold out yet. I haven't gotten the stand up, but I'm sitting on an ab mat and a 45-pound bumper plate.
Nice. So mobility is one of the 7 daily habits. Water is one of the 7 daily habits. Now, there's a lot of crosstalk about water and how important water is. As an athlete, there's no athlete in the world that would argue with the fact that you need to drink water in order to perform at a high level. And how much water do you need? Well, I'm not going to get into debate about it. I know that if you drink a third of your body weight in ounces of water, it's enough to keep you hydrated, and it's enough to keep you awake and conscious about drinking water every day. So for me, that would be about 50 ounces of water. Well, if you're 150 pounds, a third of your body weight's 50 pounds, and you just just 1 for 1, convert that to ounces, and then you drink 50 ounces. That's about a liter and a half for me.
So you're going a third versus half.
A third versus half versus full body weight. I mean, like, there's all kinds of, when I was really doing a lot of training, I'm doing a gallon to a gallon and a quarter a day. I mean, it's 150 ounces a day. Wasn't out of the ordinary for me to drink that much. So that would be 2 times. Let's see, my body weight. No, it'd be a little less than my body weight, 3/4 of my body weight. So, all we're going for is consciousness, because usually if I start drinking water in the morning, I will get enough over the course of the day. The problem for me is I love my hot buttered coffee and my hot buttered tea, and I drink it all morning long when it's not as hot as it is right now. I know I have no room to complain because I'm talking to a guy in Phoenix, but I have no air conditioning in my office. So it's hot as crap. And I tend to drink more water when it's hotter. But in the wintertime, I'll go until 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock without having drank any water. And that doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me.
So for those guys watching, let me take a quick break here, Andy. We talk about eliminating toxins, getting rid of the microwave, getting rid of your Teflon, getting rid of plastic. It's extremely important if you're drinking a third of your body weight in ounces of water that you've switched to either a glass or some kind of tin container. We want to eliminate all plastics.
There you go.
Cool. There you
go. We don't. That's not something we tell people they have to do, because we just want people drinking water. So that is certainly the next level. Absolutely the next level. So the next element we have is supplementation. Now, in a perfect world, I don't know if I can curse. I'll do my best not to curse. I was about to say.
Hey, hold on. Here's the thing. We're on XM, not FM. So if you can go ahead and do what you need to do, Mr.
Okay. I was going to say, fuck supplements. Generally speaking, get your nutrition from the food you eat. The problem in today's world, and this applies to me very directly, is I frequently run either don't take the time that I know I need to eat the way I know I should eat, or just fall into the hectic pace of life. And I don't get the things that I know I need. For me, vitamin D is probably not the thing, because I'm in Southern California and we get a lot of sun. But fish oil is definitely one that I take regularly. This challenge, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something I heard about on the Wadcast podcast the other day, some kind of a brain supplement. I think I'm going to try it out and see if I can manage to do that. Or I'm going to try superfood, like a green superfood, and see if I can do that every day. But really, it's about the habit of taking something that you think will have an impact on your long-term health and well-being. You get to choose. We don't sell supplements. It's funny, somebody that's a real marketing person and we'll look at our website and go, you don't sell anything on your website. Yeah, we don't. It's really just about the challenge, and go out and lead your life and do what you need to do. That, who knows if we'll ever change that. It's very pure. It's a very pure concept. We don't do any advertising, whatever. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah. Hey, Najla's not on right now, so she would say the same thing about our website too. She would start selling something.
She would start smacking me across the face, knowing Najla. Like, dude, what are you thinking about?
You know what we do talk about all the time is if we could create a supplement very similar to Gatorade in its powdered form without the yellows and artificial colors for our kids, that would be a game changer, because the best thing we have, the best option really is powdered Gatorade. Yeah. And there needs to be something else out there. So we got to talk about that some other time. But that would be a product I would stand behind, just for the simple fact that my kids need electrolytes. Yeah. And, straight sugar orange juice and coconut water doesn't always do it.
There's one that we sell in CrossFit LA that has gone, it started in Canada and they've partnered a bunch with hockey teams around the world. It's called
Coco 5.
It's called BioSteel.
BioSteel.
BioSteel is the powdered form is not Whole Life Challenge compliant, because they use a sweetener in it that is not compliant. But the liquid form, which comes in a bottle that's like a water bottle that's got a cap where the powder is stored, and you push the cap down and it pushes the powder in, that is compliant because the only sweetener they use is stevia, which is the only sweetener that's allowed in the Whole Life Challenge. So,
hey, you said the word compliant 3 times. Are you sure you're not in Santa Cruz? Are you sure you're in LA?
What's a better word? Give me an alternative.
That's a good one. I'll have to work on that. Besides compliant.
All right. So we have supplement, hydration, mobility, nutrition, exercise. Oh yeah. So lifestyle practices is the 6th daily habit, and it's very vague because we don't define what that means. They are things that we have found over the course of study of ourselves and people around us that have an impact on health and well-being that don't fit into the normal category of health and well-being. Like being organized, like doing like decluttering your house, like decluttering your desk, like expressing gratitude in a written letter or written note, like meditating, like getting enough sleep. Sleep does fit, but it's one of the practices we put in the lifestyle practice.
So let me freeze frame you again, Andy. There's so many different ways we could go with this thing. And, you definitely have been somebody I've looked up to in my career here in the fitness world. But he talked about handwritten letters. Well, who taught us how to write these handwritten letters was Mr. Andy Petronic at the old the Biz seminars back in the day. And we still do it to this day. To get a handwritten letter in the mail, we see people's refrigerators that are completely filled with these handwritten letters. Nobody does that today. Yeah. So thank you, sir, for leading from the front on that. And we still do it.
Yeah, it's a great habit. I mean, it's funny. I get out of the habit. I go in and out of remembering the importance and the value to those things, and can't really emphasize those enough. Those are fantastic. But these are areas that typically people put in the category of health and fitness. So some are very close when we'll do, and these are the lifestyle practices are things that we do during the challenge for 1 week, and we'll do the lifestyle practice for a week, and then the next week we'll change to something else. So it could be sleep for 7 hours, it could be meditate for 10 minutes, it could be any of the things that we've talked about. They're very specific. We give you very specific parameters on what the challenge is and how to accomplish it. And then the last daily habit is reflection. And I always think of reflection as the bonus, the double bonus. So you get 56 days to participate in the challenge, right? If you reflect every day on what you did do, you actually are getting 120, what is 56 times 2? 112 hits of value, because you actually, you live what you're going to live, and then you go back and you have to think about what you did, and you have to write something about it. And it could be positive, it could be negative, it could be what you've learned, it could be what you didn't learn, it could be a mistake you made, it could be how something you're going to do differently tomorrow. They are your opportunity to give you pause to look back over what you're doing and write something hopefully intelligent about it. I mean, intelligent or not, just something heartfelt about it.
So I really like that, considering the fact that you have to take a step back and look at your own life. And if you happen to make a mistake, so I'm thinking about myself here as an example. My 7 daily habits, I can tell you right now, 80% of the time I run 5 of them, and the other 20% I run 2. So I am hitting all aspects of nutrition. I am hitting my hydration. I am hitting my exercise. And we're talking about today already, if I were to give myself points for that. I have not reflected yet, but I got a chance to walk my kids to school today, and I always reflect when I walk home on that. Lifestyle practices going well. Mobility. I can't tell you the last time I did any kind of mobilization besides a little arm pat before we got going. So,
why does that not surprise me?
So at the end of the day, I'm going to look back and say, you know what? My reflection is I'm not mobilizing. And that's a huge chunk of probably what's wrong right now, with a few, lagging injuries through things that aren't going away. Well, I'm not taking care of those things. So of that, I would give myself 5 out of 7 points for the day, correct?
Well, the points are a little bit different. The points, every element except nutrition is yes, no. Did you do it or did you not do it? And the points for exercise, you get 2 points. For mobility, you get 2 points. For supplementation, for taking a supplement, you get 1 point. For hydration, you get 1 point. For lifestyle practice, you get 1 point. And for reflection, you get 1 point. So
now, do you ever think we'll see sex on here as an additional point, whether with another human or yourself?
SEX?
Yes.
Well, that's exercise.
Okay. All right. Some people wanted me to ask that question.
Yeah, that totally counts as exercise in my book. Or I guess you could make a new category called self-love. If it's self-love or partner love or something. Love. How about just love?
Love. I like that. That's good.
Although I don't know if sex is love. It doesn't always mean love.
All right, Andy. So tell us real quickly.
So the nutrition part is an interesting part. There's 5 points for nutrition every day. And, when I was using the word compliant, I was talking about the food compliance. And, one of the things we've learned over the years of doing this is trying to lump everybody into the same category of you should eat this way, like say it's paleo. It doesn't serve everyone. It's a nice idea. And while I think it's kind of like Luke talking about how you should be drinking drinks not out of plastic, but out of, water, not out of plastic, but out of metal containers. Absolutely true. You should be eating full paleo. I believe absolutely true. Should everybody start there? Probably not. Because it's a recipe for survival for 8 weeks or maybe less, and then quitting and going back to the habits that you had before. And worse. So we have 3 different levels for people to participate: a kickstart level, a lifestyle level, and a performance level. And each level gives you kind of a starting point from which to base the changes you're going to embark on. And it's important that you don't bite off more than you can chew. And take a small step forward. I play Kickstart. I try to live by the performance rules, but I score myself on Kickstart. And for me, that works really, really well. I don't feel boxed into a corner. Typically, when I feel boxed in, I rebel against being boxed in, and I eat like crap. So I need to have the flexibility of Kickstart, but I eat performance as much as I can. And that works really well for me.
So you undercommit and over-deliver is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And so with the food element, you start the day with 5 points. And for every infraction of a rule of one of the things you're supposed to not eat, if you eat that thing you're not supposed to eat, you lose a point. So you get to manage your day and your points that day based on how you're eating. And, you don't lose all your points for making one mistake. There are many ways to manage points in your day. And, the challenge is to not fall off the rails, the minute you lose a point or two and go, the hell with it, I lost my points, and then you're going to, eat like crazy. So the other piece is to stay the course, no matter how bad things get. Really what we're trying to reward and trying to encourage is regular participation, no matter what your point total is. You get 0 points today. Don't quit. Like it's the whole, quitting is just indicative of not willing to stay the course. And I'd much rather see somebody log in 7 days in a row with 0 points and not quit and stay engaged and continue scoring themselves, even if it's 0 points, than to see somebody get perfect score for 2 weeks and then disappear.
Yeah, so we had great success with a private Facebook channel. Now with the website, it's even more engaging, so we can communicate through our teams and through the global website as well. When did you guys decide to put that little add-on in?
That started, I think, in the New Year Challenge this year. When was the last one you guys did?
I want to say it was last Either
Last
fall or spring. Yeah.
I think it might have been last fall. And if you did last fall, it probably wasn't there. It definitely, well, I don't remember when it went in, but we decided that it works really, really well because people can communicate within their team. Some people actually also like to set up a private Facebook group, and they do both. You know, look, I'm not against people doing that. I think it's wherever you find the ability and the most people who are willing to engage. And if it's on the Whole Life Challenge site through the communication feed, it's fantastic. And if it's on a private Facebook group, that's fine too.
So a lot of people tend to ask me, well, why do I need to do it again? I did it once. I did it last year. Personally, the reason why I do it is I learned something new, not only about myself, but about the foods and, you know, anything I'm putting in my body. The very first time I went paleo, or the first time I went 100%, I learned that I was deficient in iron and I became anemic, and I pretty much crashed 2 weeks out from a big competition. So every single time I learn something about myself, and what happens is I end up eliminating something else along the way. So, you know, for a long time, I would go paleo and drink alcohol, and I got rid of that toxin. And then for a little while, I would go, you know, paleo, but with dairy, and I got rid of that altogether now. So every time I do this, you know, I'm teaching myself, my body, my mind, how to live and how to live at the highest possible level.
Well, it's a process. And I think the reason to repeat the challenge, and this is something, I've done every challenge. I have gone through phases of, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And then the day before the challenge, I'll sign up and do it. That the whole idea, the way I just told you that I like to under promise and then over deliver, that has come out of just experience. I didn't know that. I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. Why, when I did performance level, I would eat like crap. And it wasn't until literally the last challenge, which is my 9th one or my 10th one, I thought, okay, I'm going to do Kickstart but eat on performance as much as possible. And I ate better than I've eaten on any challenge. So this is an evolution, kind of like what you were saying. You know, if you're in this for the long haul, if you're in this for the 20-year game, not the 6-month game, what little steps can you take today that will stick around? I mean, the one change I made from the very first Whole Life Challenge was I got off of Coke and diet sodas, and I bought a Soda Stream, threw away all the syrups that come with the Soda Stream. So I just use water and bubbly water, and I've never had a soda since. Now that's one little thing that I did that wasn't too hard, that has stuck with me for four and a half years. And that was I think it'll make a long-term difference. I think it already has made a long-term difference.
Yeah. So for me, it was corn syrup, wheat, and alcohol. Those were the three. You know, I put dairy in there within that 20%. If there's some cheese on my salad, that's fine. You know, but during this challenge, I'll obviously go extremely strict. But because of what you said, I'm going to turn myself back down to the Kickstart level and work my way up, because
it's something to try. You know, like not everybody responds the same way. I read a book by Gretchen Rubin. I think it's called The Happiness Project or something about happiness. And she came up with 4 different categories, psychological categories of people and how they respond to commitments that they make, whether they're externally driven or internally driven. And you know, like if you put a workout in your calendar, nobody else knows about it. Do you do it? And do you do it when you say you're going to do it? For me, I don't. I blow myself off. For Gretchen, she happens to fall in a very small category of people who it doesn't matter whether it's externally driven or internally driven. She does it. Like 11 o'clock, she will be workout clothes in her driveway doing her workout, whatever it is. And so, you know, there's not a solution that fits everybody. So, you know, performance level, very strict, might work really well for some people. I'd say it's a small number of people, but you know, I wouldn't say that's necessarily wrong.
Yeah, I live within that frame where if I want something, I'm going to get it. So hopefully I can not want it for long enough, but it's not going to pull me so far that once I have it, I'm going to go bonanzas. And I see that a lot with my clients. You know, right around the corner, I got one of these little signs on the board that says, I will not drink for 30 days. or I owe Luke $100 and 100 burpees. So that accountability piece is so vital to the success.
Yep.
Well, what happened was 2 other people walked by and they put their name up there. So, you talk about how important the challenge is and being able to have accountability with other people. Well, the thing grows and grows and grows. I'm extremely proud of you, Andy, and, creating the Whole Life Challenge. From a business standpoint, I know we talked always about what happens when you're the man, what happens when you're the show, what happens when you're the trainer, the guy. And what happens when you turn 40? Do you want to still do that? And I've always talked about my biggest fear was being a 40-year-old trainer, having started at 19 years old. Well, you're now building that business model that fitness professionals like myself really look up to, man. And you've always been a leader from the front. So thank you very much. Thank you for the Whole Life Challenge. We will be sending this video to YouTube when we're done with it. Any last parting words from Mr. Andy Petronic out there in Los Angeles?
I would just say that the Whole Life Challenge is a tool that literally anything can work inside of. Yes, we have our rules and our requirements and 7 daily habits. But I'll give you an example. My sister, who typically doesn't take my advice, like she's quite, family being family, resistant to whatever you say you're the expert in. She decided to do her first challenge like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and just do exercise. She wanted to see if she could exercise for 56 straight days. She ignored all the other rules. She ignored all the other signing, and she just, on the little rainbow chart, which you're familiar with, Luke, she had one yellow band across the chart, and she didn't miss a day. And she now runs marathons, and she never really was a runner before. And I don't know if she'd ever really go back and attribute the Whole Life Challenge or me, for God's sakes, with her success. But the Whole Life Challenge is a tool. It's really a way of operating that gives you the ability to make small changes in a community around people who are doing it too. And, at whatever level you take it on, if you're making a small change outside of your comfort zone, it's valuable. If it's a change that you can stick for longer than 8 weeks, it's valuable. And even if it doesn't stick, maybe you learned what you shouldn't do, or what maybe what an experiment was that was too much. So I just encourage anybody that's listening to this video to check it out and see if it's something that a place you'd like to be in, a community around which you'd like to try it with. It's not for CrossFitters. It's not for yoga people. It's for really anybody. So it's just an open invitation to join us.
Well, Andy, thank you for coming on the show. I'm glad you were able to figure out your first blab. Team SICFIT is going to be doing a weekly blab. So instead of doing accountability phone calls like we've done in the past, we're going to do an actual blab. So I'd love to have you stop in sometime and check on us and cool. See how things are going.
I'd love to. That sounds great.
Andy Petronic, man, thank you for your time. Have a wonderful 56 days. The Whole Life Challenge starts next week.
Thanks, Luke. Talk to you soon.